Alright, we have got our leg warm-up, stretching, mobility routine. This is what I do before my leg days. Sometimes I'll add some things in here or there. My stretches and mobility work before my workouts really come down to how I'm feeling that day, what's been tight recently. So the main, most important focus is going to be to evaluate yourself. What's tight on you, what needs more time, what needs less time, and just start to get an understanding of how you can work with those things, make them better. This is what I do, and I'll give you some pointers on what to look for and things like that. I don't have anything that's tight that other people don't have that's tight, right? So on my leg days, my main focuses are opening up my hips. I have to get my knees warmed up, so I do some movements to get my knees going. It's loud, it's loud. If you watch the upper body video, it's loud. Specifically, my ankles have been really, really tight. My right ankle, since I rolled it maybe over a year ago, this was a year and a half ago, I rolled my right ankle. Since then, it pops all the time. I continue to pop it when I really shouldn't, and it just stays really tight, and I'm finally addressing it. I'm really trying to get that right ankle fixed because I'm lacking mobility on that right side. When you're lacking mobility on one side, whether it's an ankle or a hip or a shoulder, it's going to cause you to compensate with the other side. You're going to be twisting. If you're overhead pressing, you're going to twist to compensate the tight side. If you're squatting and your ankle's tight, your hips are going to have to rotate to compensate that other side. And it will lead to some difficulties, and it could mess up a different joint. So if your ankle's screwed up, it might mess up your knee because you're compensating. So focus on what's tight on you. You should find that on every stretch, one side's tighter than the other usually. So give a little bit more focus on the tight side, figure out what's going on. And same thing with upper body workouts. On my lower body workouts, I do stretching and mobility, but I also do some activation to get the muscles going. So you'll see I do some activations to get my backside going, my hamstrings and my glutes. I do some air squats to get the quads warmed up. And I just go through some movements, get everything moving, get the blood pumping. But also, main focus before a workout is to take your first movement and just go through it slowly. Slow the tempo down, start with lightweight, work on feeling the muscles work. So if you're starting on squats, do some air squats, then do squats with the bar, and then do squats with a little bit of weight and a little bit more weight and a little bit more weight, and really take that slow, because that's my main area of warm-up, is my first movement. So whether that's squats or bench or rows, whatever it is, start light. Please start light. Slow the tempo down. Feel it work. Feel your body falling in that right position. When you slow the tempo down on your first movement and you start with light weight, you'll feel what's tight. And then in between sets there, as you're warming up, you can stretch out that tight spot. So if you're benching and you're like, wow, my shoulders feel tight, then take a second in between sets, stretch your shoulders out, get them moving, do some overhead presses, something light just to get the blood flowing, and then move on to your movement, right? So those are my tips. Here is going to be my stretching routine, my warm-up routine. Let me know how you like it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Thanks for watching, and here we go. Alright, so all of these stretches here coming up, I usually kind of alternate them through. So I'll do these air squats, and then I'll do the next one, and then I'll do the following one, and then I'll come back to these air squats, right? So these air squats here, just take them nice and slow, get down into a deep squat. And then here, I just kind of like to push my knees out, stretch out the hips, push them out far. And then also while I'm sitting in the squat, I'll move my feet out wider and wider like you see here, and then try and sit just as deep. When you're just starting out, you'll be more narrow, and then you can go wider once your hips open up over the few minutes that you're stretching here. Just stretch it out, roll those ankles out, sit down in the squat. Alright, and so this is what I don't do. So when I want to stretch out my hamstrings, I don't just do a static hamstring toe touch stretch. It's not really going to do as much for you as would like a weighted movement, like these banded good mornings. So same thing, just a hip hinge, feel the hamstring stretch, but given that extra resistance moving up through is going to warm the hamstrings and glutes up more than just a static toe touch stretch would. And then if you don't have a band, just do some light RDLs. It's the same movement, grab a weight, stretch the hamstrings out, stretch the glutes out, but actually add a load to it. That's going to help a lot more with feeling like you're more mobile. The muscle's going to get warmed up better. You're going to be much more mobile there.
Alright, and these 90-90s, I've been doing these recently. This is just a whole hip opener. It gets your IT bands, it gets the inside of your hips, your abductors. So you're going to sit on your butt, and then you're going to keep your feet flat and rotate them out, keeping yourself up off the ground, like not touching with your hands on the ground. And just rotate back and forth nice and slowly. You don't want to rush this. Don't move too fast. It's a lot tougher than it looks, and I'm fairly new to these, which is probably why they look a little bit janky. But basically they're called 90-90s because when your legs are down like that on the side, they're at 90 degrees on both. They're like little squares. Alright, and this is for my ankle mobility. If you don't have tight ankles, then you might not need to do these, but I've been having to do these a lot. So just put your ankle up, your foot up on an elevation. You're going to want to keep the heel down, and then you're going to try and basically jam that knee forward out over the toes. So my right side does not go out nearly as far as my left side. And I'll push it out for a little bit and then come back and do the other side, for a few times. Now this calf foam roll stretch here, this one helps a lot with loosening up the ankles from the other side. So if you have tight ankles, it's either coming from the front side, like a structural mobility locking spot, which is kind of what mine is, or it's coming from really tight calves, so those calves aren't allowing your foot and ankle to move completely freely. So try both of those stretches if you have tight calves. You'll find that your calves are probably really tight. Mine are extremely tight, and doing this foam roll in here hurts quite a bit. So you should do it if you have tight calves. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, comments, go ahead and leave them down below, and I will answer everything. All right, thanks for watching, guys.